Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, I am going to do a video on how to not round. This one is when you are asked to simplify a quadratic using the quadratic formula and they want an exact value. I want to show you exactly what that means. So let's go here. So very first thing, remember this this one, it says use a quadratic formula to solve this quadratic equation. And then they said to round it to the nearest hundred. So that's what we got to do. So very first thing we're going to do is let's write the equation. It's going to be 1x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. Remember, there's two things that have to be true in order to use a quadratic formula. The quadratic equation has to be equal to 0, and it is. And it has to be in standard form. The quadratic has to be in standard form, and it is. And all standard form means is that the exponent, highest exponent goes first, the second highest exponent goes second, and then the constant is always last. And so from here, now we're just going to do A, B, C. We're going to plug it into our formula, and then we're going to use the calculator. So let's go. The A value is 1. The B value is a -4. The C value is a +1. Now, we're just going to plug those numbers in. So we have the B and the B, so we're going to replace it with a -4. And then we're going to place it with a -4. And then the A value is 1, so we're going to replace this with 1, and we're going to put a 1 in there. And then the C value is 1. So that's what we've got. Now, from here, we're just going to use the calculator to finish it up. So I'm going to store numbers. So I'm going to store 1 into A, a -4 into B, and 1 into C. So we're going to always start with the number, control variable, and then the letter that you want to store it. So I'm storing that into A, done. -4, store that into B, done. 1, store that into C, done. Now, we're just going to key in the quadratic formula right here, this -b part. So, oops, let me make this smaller. So move this over. So I'm just going to use a stack fraction, control divide, and then it's going to be a -b plus the square root of, it's going to be b squared minus 4 times a. Remember, you need to put a multiplication between the a and the c. And then down here is going to be 2a. Press enter. And it tells us that our answer is x equals 3.73250. That's enough. That's enough. Because rounding, we know we got to let some of this go anyway. So here's our second one. Now, to get the second 0, we're just going to copy the formula. And then we're just going to come here and change the plus to a minus, press enter. So there is our second answer, 0.2679491. That's enough. All right, now here's what we need to be able to do. First things first, since we're rounding this to the hundredths place, first things first, go find your place. So the 3 is in the hundredths place and the 6 is in the hundredths place. First things first, find your place, look the number to the right in its face. If it's 4 or below, let that shit go. So this is just going to be 3.73. We get rid of all of this stuff over here. Boom, done. All right, done. So that's our first answer. That's our first answer. Now, our second answer, same thing. Go to first things first, find your place, then look the number to the right in its face. In this case, the number that we're looking at is 7. So 7 is 5 or above. So we're going to show this number, the 6, some love. So our answer is going to be 0.27. And again, as soon as you use the number to the right, you get rid of all of this stuff over here. So those are our two answers. Now, this is what we did last week, and I'm hoping that at this point, you're comfortable with what you need to do. You're comfortable with rounding. Now, here's the new part. So essentially, we have the same equation, but now they want exact values. So let me tell you what that means. That means no decimals. They don't want decimals. Fractions are okay. Integers are definitely okay. They don't want decimals that go on forever. And that's what this is. So whenever they say determine the exact values, let me show you what you need to do. Now, I'm going to rewrite this. So this is going to be 1x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. Okay. The a, b, and c are the same. So this is going to be 1, -4, and a +1. We're going to do everything the same, except that we're not going to use decimals. So let me show you what we're doing. So we're going to put a -4 in here. We're going to put a -4 in here. We're going to put a 1 here, and a 1 here. All right. Now, the reason that we get the decimals is this stuff in here, the b squared minus 4ac part. That's what's making the decimal. And that's the part they don't want us to make into a decimal. So let me show you what we're going to do instead. Now, I've already stored these from the last problem, so I don't have to re-enter them. But here's what I need. I need this part in here, the b squared minus 4ac. So watch what I do. I'm going to do b squared minus 4 times A times C. By the way, this is called a determinant. You don't really need to know that name too much. You might see it in algebra 2, but all it means is the part and the square root part. That's what makes it a decimal or not. So now, once I press enter, it tells me that the stuff in here, when you calculate it, it's going to be 12. So watch how I answer this. So now I'm just going to go here and write my final answer. X equals, now a negative times a negative is going to be a +4. We're going to have plus or minus. And then all of this stuff in here is just 12. So I can just say the square root of 12, and then 2 times 1 on the bottom is 2, right? So this is our answer. This is what they want. They want you to leave it as a decimal or as a fraction. They don't want decimals. So that's when they say exact values, that's all they mean. That means this part inside the square root has to be left as a square root if it gives you a bunch of decimals. All right. So that's it. That's all we're doing. Now, I'm going to do a couple more examples. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to do a couple examples from the Delta math just to show you that we know what to do. We just have to make sure we're looking at that b squared minus 4ac part. That's the key to this whole process when they say exact. All right, so I'm going to stop and I'm going to post this.